The auction hall floated in open space like a metal crown, wide and bright, built to impress every species in the known galaxy. Lights moved across the ceiling like slow stars. Rows of seats rose in circles, filled with buyers, merchants, nobles, collectors, and criminals wearing fine clothes and false smiles. Guards stood everywhere, armored and armed, watching for trouble. On the central platform stood the last item of the day. She was small compared to many of the others sold before her. But no, mistook her for weak. Her skin was a pale silver blue, marked with thin scars that crossed her arms and neck. Her eyes were sharp, glowing faint gold under the lights. Thick restraints wrapped around her wrists, ankles, and waist, connected to a control collar at her throat. Even with all that, she stood straight.
She did not bow. She did not beg.
She stared at the crowd like she was memorizing their faces. The auctioneer cleared his throat, his voice echoing through the hall. "Final item," he said, forcing energy into his tone. "Female of the Karai bloodline. Designation, subject, 17. Classified as highly aggressive. Survival rate of previous handlers, 0. A low murmur spread through the audience. The auctioneer continued. Strength above galactic average. Fast healing. Resistant to pain conditioning. Sold as is. No returns. The alien girl smiled slightly at that. It was not a kind smile. Bidding lights flickered on in front of the seats. No one raised a hand. The auctioneer waited, then laughed lightly. "Come now. Surely someone wishes to test their skill?" "Starting price has been lowered." Still nothing. A tall reptilian buyer leaned toward his companion. "That one killed a Vorlon pitmaster," he said. "Tore out his throat with her teeth." Another buyer shook their head. "She broke a neural leash. Impossible. Not worth the trouble." The girl heard them. Her hearing was better than most. She did not react, only shifted her weight and tugged once at the restraints. The metal groaned but did not break. The auctioneer wiped sweat from his brow. "Further reduction in price," he said. "Final offer." Silence filled the hall. The auctioneer's smile faded. Unsold items were bad for business. Worse, this one was expensive to keep alive. He leaned closer to the microphone. "Any bid at all?" In the upper rows, far from the center, a human sat alone. He was unremarkable by galactic standards. Medium height, no armor. Plain, dark jacket. His hair was dark and cut short, his face calm but tired. He had watched the entire auction without speaking, hands resting on his knees. When the auctioneer's voice echoed one last time, the human slowly raised his hand. For a moment, no one understood what had happened. Then the hall erupted in laughter. Several species turned to look at him. Some laughed openly. Others stared in disbelief. "A human?" someone scoffed. "They let humans in here now?" The auctioneer blinked. "Sir," he said carefully, "you do understand what you are bidding on?" The human nodded. "Yes. This subject is dangerous." "I know. She is untamable." "So I've heard." The alien girl's eyes snapped toward him. For the first time, something flickered across her face. Surprise. The auctioneer hesitated. "Very well," he said. "The bid is accepted. Payment will be processed immediately." The gavel struck. Sold. Guards moved fast, activating higher restraint levels. Energy fields tightened around the girl's body. She snarled, muscles tensing, ready to fight whoever approached. The human stood and walked down the steps. He did not hurry. He did not carry a weapon. As he came closer, the girl watched him closely. Humans were fragile. Everyone knew that. Soft skin. Weak bones. Easy to break. She wondered how long he would last. The guards unlocked the platform gate and stepped back, weapons ready. The human stopped a few steps away from her. Up close, he looked even weaker. His heartbeat was steady, though. She could hear it. He was not afraid. "You're coming with me," he said, simply. She hissed, baring sharp teeth. "Try." The guards tensed, waiting for the attack. Instead of ordering them forward, the human reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. He pressed it, and the energy field around her loosened slightly. Not enough to free her, but enough to show intent. The guards shouted, "Sir, that is not advised. She won't move if you don't threaten her," the human said calmly. "Let me handle it." The girl narrowed her eyes. This was new. He turned back to her. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. "But we can't stay here?" She laughed, a short, harsh sound.
All of you say that. I'm not all of you.
She lunged. It happened fast. She twisted against the restraints, using the small gap in the energy field to swing forward, aiming her head at his throat. The guards fired stun pulses. The human stepped forward instead of back. He raised his arm, not to strike, but to shield. The stun pulses hit her, sending pain through her body. She screamed and collapsed to her knees, gasping. The restraints tightened again, locking her in place. The human knelt in front of her. The guard shouted for him to move away, but he ignored them. He spoke softly. "Easy," he said. "I know it hurts." She stared at him in shock. No one had ever said that to her. He did not touch her. He did not look pleased or angry, just focused. "Let's get you out of here," he said. The guards hesitated, confused, but orders were orders. They escorted them to a transport ship docked behind the station. The ship was small, civilian, no weapons visible. As the ramp closed, the girl tested the restraints again. They held, but the control collar no longer burned her skin. The human sat across from her, fastening his harness.
"What is your name?" he asked. She glared.
"I don't have one." He accepted that without argument. "I'm Elias," he said. The ship launched smoothly, leaving the auction hall behind. Minutes passed in silence. The girl watched him carefully, waiting for the moment the mask would fall. It always did. Pain, commands, tests, those came next. Instead, Elias pulled out a small container and set it on the floor between them. He slid it closer with his foot. "Food," he said. "Nutrient blend, no drugs." She sniffed the air. It smelled clean, real. She didn't touch it. "Why did you buy me?" she asked. "Because they were going to dispose of you." She laughed bitterly. "You paid credits for a corpse then."
"Maybe," he said.
"But not today." The ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. The stars stretched into lines, then vanished. The girl leaned back against the wall, still watching him. For the first time since she was taken from her homeworld, no one shouted at her. No pain came. No orders were given. It scared her more than the chains ever had. She closed her eyes, just for a moment. Elias stayed where he was, keeping his distance, hands open and visible. Outside the ship, the galaxy moved on. Inside, something had begun to change. The ship moved quietly through open space, far from the bright lights of the auction station. Inside, everything felt smaller and tighter. The walls were plain metal. The lights were soft and steady. No alarms. No shouting voices. The alien girl sat on the floor with her back against the wall. The restraints were still on her wrists and ankles, but the energy was low now. Enough to stop her from escaping, not enough to cause pain. She noticed that. She noticed everything. Elias stayed in his seat across from her. He did not stare. He checked the ship's controls, then leaned back and waited. Time passed slowly.
She tested him. She pulled hard against the restraints again, letting metal scrape loudly.
She growled under her breath, sharp and threatening. Elias looked up. "Careful," he said. "You'll tear your skin." She froze. He did not sound angry, just concerned. "You care if I'm hurt?" she asked. Yes. She searched his face for lies. Humans were known for weakness, not honesty. But she smelled no fear on him, no excitement. "No hunger! Why?" she demanded. "Because you're alive," he said. That should be enough. That answer made no sense to her. Most beings believed survival had to be earned, proved, paid for with obedience or pain. She turned her head away. "You'll change," she said. "They always do." "Maybe," Elias replied honestly. "But if I do, you'll be the first to know." The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a quiet system with a single yellow star. A small planet rotated below them, green and blue, with thin clouds wrapping around it. The girl felt something twist in her chest. Open skies. Water. Life. It reminded her of something old and broken. "Where are we going?" she asked. "My home," Elias said. She laughed again. "Humans don't have homes. You live wherever stronger species allow you." "That's what they think," he said. The ship descended through the atmosphere and landed near a wide stretch of land, covered in grass and tall trees. No cities, no guards, just wind and distant animal sounds. When the ramp opened, fresh air filled the ship. The girl inhaled sharply. It smelled real. Elias stood. "I'm going to remove one restraint," he said. "Your wrists. If you attack me, I'll put it back."
"Fair?" She stared at him. "You trust me?"
"No," he said. "But I believe in giving chances." He moved slowly, carefully, giving her time to react. He knelt and deactivated the cuffs around her wrists. They fell away with a soft click. For a long moment, she did nothing. Then she raised her hands and looked at them. No pain, no shock. She could have killed him right there, snapped his neck, taken the ship. "Run?" Instead, she asked, "Why are you doing this?" Elias met her eyes. "Because someone should have done it sooner." They stepped outside together. The ground felt strange under her bare feet, soft, alive. She flinched at every sound, muscles tight, ready to fight invisible enemies. Elias watched quietly. "You're safe here," he said. "There is no safe," she replied. They walked toward a small structure near the trees, a simple human dwelling. No walls of steel, no cages. Inside, Elias offered her water. Real water. Clean. He placed the container on the floor and stepped back. She drank cautiously. Tears burned her eyes, though she did not understand why. That night, she did not sleep. She stayed awake, watching him. He slept on a narrow bed, fully vulnerable. He trusted her. In the morning, a ship entered the system. Alarms beeped softly. Elias woke and checked the scanners. His jaw tightened. "They found us," he said. The girl stood immediately. Her hands curled into fists. "Give me my restraints back," she said. "They will kill you." Elias shook his head. "No." The ship that approached was sleek and black, marked with the symbols of the auction authority. "Enforcers. They don't forgive losses," she said. "They will take me!" Or, destroy this place. Elias opened a hidden compartment and pulled out a communicator. "They won't," he said. "Not if we do this right." The enforcer ship landed nearby. Armed figures exited, weapons raised. Their leader stepped forward, tall and armored. "Human," he said coldly. "You are in possession of stolen property." "She's not property," Elias replied. The enforcer laughed. You bought her. Zzz, that makes her ours. The girl moved between them, standing in front of Elias. I will go, she said. Leave him. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. No. The enforcer raised his weapon. Before he could fire, Elias activated the communicator. A signal burst into space. Moments later, multiple human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Not warships, transport vessels, medical ships. Civilian craft. The enforcers hesitated. The lead enforcer snarled. You humans think numbers will save you? No, Elias said. Truth will. Data streamed across open channels, evidence of illegal auctions. Abuse records, death counts, witness logs, all sent to galactic oversight networks. You see, Elias continued, humans are good at one thing you ignore. And what is that? The enforcer demanded. Documentation. The enforcers retreated slowly, weapons lowering. Their ship lifted off and vanished into space. Silence returned to the field. The girl stared at the sky, shaking. She had expected violence. Blood. Screams. Instead, humans had come to stand beside one of their own. Elias turned to her. You don't belong to them, he said, and you don't belong to me. She looked at him, truly looked at him. What happens now? She asked. That, he said gently, is up to you. For the first time in her life, the choice was real. She stayed, not because she was forced, but because she wanted to know what kind of beings humans truly were. The days after the enforcers left were strange and quiet. The alien girl stayed near the edge of the trees, watching the open land and the small human home. She slept lightly, always ready to move. Even without restraints, her body still expected pain. Her mind still waited for orders. Elias did not give any. He went about his daily routine. He checked equipment, repaired a fence, cooked simple food. Sometimes he spoke to her. Sometimes he stayed silent. He never raised his voice, never rushed her. That made her uneasy. On the third day, she finally asked, "Why are you still here?" Elias looked up from a small device he was fixing. "This is my home." "No," she said. "Why are you still here with me?" He thought for a moment. "Because you chose to stay." She frowned. "Most would lock me away, or study me, or sell me again. I'm not most," he said. She snorted softly. "That much is clear." Slowly, she began to explore. She walked through the trees, touching bark, leaves, soil. Everything felt alive. Nothing tried to hurt her. It confused her senses. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in orange and red, she sat near the fire Elias had built. "You never asked my name again," she said.
"I didn't want to force it," Elias replied. She stared into the flames.
"My people named me Kara," he nodded. "It's good to meet you, Kara." Something warm and painful tightened in her chest. That night, memories came. Not dreams, memories. She remembered her homeworld before the ships came. Wide plains, blue mountains, her mother's voice. Her people were hunters, yes, but they valued strength with honor. When the slavers attacked, many fought, many died. Kira had survived. Survival became her curse. She woke suddenly, breathing hard. Her claws dug into the ground. Elias was there almost instantly, kneeling nearby, but not touching her.
"You're safe," he said. She shook her head.
"You don't know what I've done. I don't need to," he answered. "I know what they did to you." That broke something open inside her. In the days that followed, danger returned, but quietly. Ships passed through the system. Signals brushed the edges of human space. The Auction Authority had not forgotten. They were watching, waiting for a mistake. Elias knew this. One morning, he handed Kara a small device. "Communicator," he said. "If anything happens, press this." She stared at it. "Why give me power?" "Because power should not be taken," he said. "It should be shared." She trained with him after that, not as a weapon, but as a partner. He taught her how humans defended themselves, not with strength alone, but planning, cooperation, and stubborn refusal to give up. Kara was strong, fast, dangerous. But humans were patient. Weeks passed. One day, a message arrived. Galactic Council representatives were requesting testimony. The data Elias had released had shaken many systems. Auctions were being questioned. Investigations had begun. But some wanted revenge. That night, Kara sensed it before the alarms did. She felt the vibration in the ground. The air changed. "Elias," she whispered, "we are not alone." The attack came without warning. Silent drones descended from the sky, moving fast. No markings. Illegal. Tech. Elias activated defenses, but they were few. "Run," he told her. "No," Kara said. She stepped forward, claws extended, eyes glowing faintly gold. For the first time, she chose to fight, not to survive alone, but to protect. She moved like a storm. Drones fell from the sky, torn apart. Energy bolts scorched the ground. One struck her side, burning deep. Elias dragged her behind cover. "You're hurt. I heal," she said through clenched teeth. "They won't stop." Then something unexpected happened. Human ships arrived. Not a fleet. Neighbors. Colonists. Traders. Rescue crews. Ordinary humans who had seen the data, heard the call, and came anyway. They formed a shield around the planet. The attackers retreated again. After the smoke cleared, Kara collapsed. Her healing slowed. Too much damage. Elias carried her inside. As she faded in and out, she heard voices, human voices, arguing, planning, caring. When she woke, she was lying on a bed. Clean bandages covered her wounds. "You stayed," she whispered. "Yes," Elias said softly. "We all did."
Tears slipped from her eyes. She did not wipe them away.
The galaxy had taught her that strength meant standing alone. Humans were teaching her something different, and somewhere far away, powerful beings were beginning to fear that lesson. The recovery was slow. Kara healed faster than most species, but the wounds from the drones had been deep and precise. Whoever had sent them had studied her body carefully. That thought made Elias uneasy. He stayed close while she rested. Humans came and went from the small home, bringing supplies, medical tools, and quiet support. They did not stare at her like a weapon. They spoke to her like a person. That still felt unreal. When Kara finally stood again, the planet felt different, less quiet. There were ships in orbit now, human ships. Not warships, but they formed a loose guard, watching the edges of the system. The galaxy was paying attention. News spread fast. Footage from the auction, the data leaks, the failed retrieval attempts. Everything had gone public. Across many worlds, people were asking questions they had avoided for years. Who allowed auctions like this? Who benefited? How many had disappeared without a voice? The Galactic Council could no longer stay silent. A formal summons arrived. They wanted Elias. They wanted Kara. "Trap," Kara said immediately when Elias showed her the message.
"Maybe," he replied. "Or maybe it's the first real chance to end this."
She crossed her arms.
"They will try to take me again."
Elias met her gaze, not without the galaxy watching. Human representatives volunteered to escort them. Legal observers, medical officers, witness recorders. Humans trusted systems only when light was forced into them. The journey to the council station felt heavier than the auction hall ever had. The station itself was massive, carved from white stone and metal, floating at the center of a neutral system. Hundreds of species moved through its halls. When Kara stepped inside, conversations slowed. Eyes followed her. She lifted her chin and walked beside Elias. In the council chamber, the air was thick with tension. Counselors sat high above, representing dozens of worlds. Some watched with curiosity, others with fear, a few with anger. The auction authority was there too. Their representative stood stiff and silent. Elias spoke first. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He presented facts, records. Death counts, survival rates, testimonies from freed beings, financial trails that led from auctions to powerful families and governments. Then Kara spoke. Her voice was steady, but the room listened. She spoke of her home, her people, the cages, the pain, the times she fought not to escape, but simply to remind herself she was alive. I was called Untamable, she said, because I would not break. Silence filled the chamber. One counselor leaned forward. And what are you now? Kara looked at Elias, then back at them. Free, the auction representatives protested, claimed tradition, claimed necessity, claimed control. Humans answered with something worse for them. Proof. The council recessed for deliberation. Hours passed. Outside the chamber, security tightened. Elias sensed movement in the crowd. Too careful, too organized.
Kara, he murmured. Stay close. The attack came inside the station. Explosions rocked a distant wing.
Panic spread. Emergency shutters fell. Armed figures appeared. Mercenaries, not soldiers. They were not after the council. They were after her. Elias pushed Kara behind cover as energy fire cut through the air. Go, she shouted. They will not stop. I'm not leaving you, he said. They moved together, guided by human security teams who responded faster than expected. The mercenaries were skilled, but they had not planned for humans fighting like a single organism, communicating, adapting, covering each other without hesitation. Kara fought beside them, not as a weapon, as an ally. When the last mercenary fell, the truth was clear. Someone powerful had tried to silence her forever. That ended the debate. The council reconvened under heavy guard. The ruling was announced across open channels. All sentient auctions were suspended immediately. Investigations were launched. Arrest warrants issued. Entire trade networks froze overnight. The auction authority collapsed in days. There was backlash, of course. Threats, protests, economic panic. But something stronger pushed back. Public outrage. People across the galaxy had seen a single human stand up in a hall full of buyers and choose compassion over profit. They had seen Kara choose trust over rage. That image stayed. When Elias and Kira returned to the planet, the sky was full of stars. You changed everything, Kara said quietly. Elias shook his head. But we did. She considered that, then nodded. For the first time, she felt the future open instead of closing around her. But the galaxy was not done reacting. Some species feared humans now. Not for their weapons, but for their refusal to accept old rules. Others watched closely, wondering what would happen if humans chose them next. And Kara, once left behind as unwanted, now stood at the center of a storm that would reshape the stars. She did not regret it, not even a little. The weeks that followed were quiet, but tense. Kara stayed close to Elias, learning the rhythms of human life. She learned to eat their food, to move among their simple structures, to understand their ways. It was not training to fight. It was learning to live. Humans were strange creatures. They were fragile, yes, but they carried something inside them stronger than any weapon. Kara felt it, though she could not name it yet. Elias worked on his equipment daily, always letting her watch, never pushing, never expecting her to obey. She learned patience and observation in the human way, but her mind was sharp, always ready for danger. She had survived because she could anticipate threats before they came. But with Elias, she found that she could survive without constantly anticipating them. That was new. That was freedom. One morning, a new message arrived. It was from the Galactic Council. Kara read it before Elias could.
Her golden eyes narrowed. "They want us to testify again," she said.
"This time it's voluntary," Elias said. "They want our insight for lawmaking."
They want your perspective. They still want to control me, she replied.
"Or maybe," he said gently, "they finally understand that control isn't the answer." Kara was quiet. Humans had a strange way of changing things. They did not seek domination. They sought understanding. It unnerved her. The journey to the council station was uneventful, but Kara noticed that more eyes followed them than before. Not only counselors and officials, but species who had once bought, sold, or experimented on others. Traders, collectors, soldiers, diplomats. They all watched. Inside the chamber, Kara stood tall. Elias stood beside her, calm and quiet. The counselors whispered among themselves. Some had tried to dismiss humans as weak. Some had dismissed Kara as untamable. Both had been wrong. A counselor, a tall being with silver feathers, spoke first. "You disrupted a system that spanned hundreds of worlds," she said. "You defied authority." Kara stepped forward. "I was not given a choice before. I fought because I had to survive."
"But humans gave me a choice."
"They showed me that survival can be more than pain." Another counselor leaned forward. "And you, human, risked your life for a being considered dangerous?" Elias met the counselor's gaze evenly. "I did, and I would do it again." Murmurs filled the chamber. Humans were known for stubbornness, but this was different. He did not fight for glory. He did not fight for politics. He fought because it was right. The council deliberated for hours. Outside, the galaxy watched the news feeds. Images of Kara, free and alive, standing beside a human, inspired others. Species began questioning their own behavior. Some freed their own captives. Others called for investigations into similar auctions. The wave of change spread quickly. When the council returned, their decision was clear. All auctions of sentient beings were permanently banned. Slavers were arrested or hunted. Recovery programs for the enslaved were established across multiple systems. Kara felt a strange emotion she could not name. Relief? Hope? Perhaps both. She looked at Elias, and he smiled quietly. "No," he replied. "We changed it together." Days passed, and the tension eased. Kara explored the planet more, learning its rivers, forests, and hills. She still moved carefully, still observed her surroundings. But she felt safe enough to laugh. And when she laughed, the sound was pure, unbroken, and free. Elias watched her, noting the way her shoulders relaxed, the way her golden eyes softened. Humans often found joy in small things. They were fragile, yes, but resilient in ways the galaxy had yet to understand. Kara felt it too. She wanted to belong, not just survive. One evening, under a sky full of stars, Kara turned to Elias. "Do you think they will ever forget me?" "Some might try," he said. "But the galaxy has seen what happens when humans choose to stand for what is right. And you you've shown them that survival is not just about strength, it's about courage, and sometimes trust. She considered his words, then smiled faintly. I never thought I could trust anyone. You can, Elias said simply, but only if they choose to earn it. For the first time, Kira understood that her past did not define her. Her scars, her battles, her untamable nature, they were part of her, yes, but they were not her whole self. She had chosen a different path, one where she was not a weapon or a prize, but a being with freedom and a voice. Months later, Kira began helping others who had been freed from the auctions. She traveled with Elias, speaking at council hearings, visiting colonies, and teaching that strength was not about fear or power. It was about compassion, understanding, and the courage to act when others would not. The galaxy was changing, slowly but surely. Species that had once dismissed humans as weak began to pay attention. They realized that humans did not fight for conquest but for what was right, and when a human chose someone, anyone, they did not abandon them. They protected them. They fought for them. They inspired others to do the same. Kara found herself smiling more. She had been untamable, yes. She had been dangerous. But she had also been chosen. And that choice mattered more than she had imagined. She looked at Elias one evening as the two watched the stars, and felt something she had never felt before. Belonging. Humans were fragile, she knew, but they were also remarkable. And now, so was she. Together, they had defied expectations. Together, they had changed lives, and the galaxy, once cold and uncaring, had begun to see the strength of the human spirit. Kara stretched her arms to the sky, feeling the wind on her skin, the warmth of freedom in her heart. The stars above seemed brighter than ever, full of possibilities, and beside her, Elias raised his hand in a quiet salute to the universe, a gesture of trust, courage, and unwavering choice. For Kira, the untamable alien girl, the galaxy was no longer a cage. It was a place where she could finally be herself. Not feared, not hunted, not a prize. Just alive. And for the first time, that felt like victory. The stars stretched endlessly. And in that vast expanse, Kara knew one truth more deeply than anything else. Humans choose. And once they choose, they never give up. She was chosen. And she would never forget it. The galaxy had learned something new that day. Not about weapons. Not about power. But about the spirit of humanity and its untamable capacity for courage, trust, and hope. Kira smiled once more, then turned to Elias. Together, they stepped forward into the future, ready for whatever would come next. And for the first time, the galaxy seemed wide, open, and full of possibility. The Untamable was no longer alone. The Untamable had chosen to stay, and that choice changed everything.